Good day, guys. So today we are in one of South Africa's most popular pickups or bakkies, which is the Toyota Hilux. This is the base model, but it's got air conditioner and electric windows, and in fact it goes for the cheapest that I saw on, what's that site again, on Auto Trader, was 325,000 rands. This is the 2.4 liter engine, which is the diesel one, and it is the long wheelbase, low ride, that is, hence, for instance, I'm saying it's the base model, and it's riding on steel wheels, 15-inch steel wheels. There's nothing special on it. And yeah, I think the power is a bit up on it because it pushes out 110 kilowatts. I think the previous one, which was a 2.5, was pushing about 85 kilowatts, and it's got more torque in terms of the 2.4 liter engine. It's got 343 Newton meters, which is plenty for this bakkie. It can pull almost anything. And the highest spec 2.4, which is the GD6, it's got an extra gear. This one is a 5 manual gearbox, has got the 343 Newton meters, which is the high spec one, has got 400 Newton meters, so it's a bit more than this one, but obviously you get what you pay for at the end of the day. And again, this is a workhorse at the end of the day, so you won't really be racing or doing anything like that with it. Look, at the end of the day, when you don't have anything at the back in terms of suspension, it bounces around just like any other bakkie. And when comparing it to, let's say, in terms of pricing, I think you can get something less expensive than this if you're really looking for a workhorse. Take an example, the Nissan NP300, the hard body. Look, the looks haven't changed, I don't know in how long, maybe 20 years or something like that. But a brand new one I saw on Auto Trader for about 220, 230. So I think it's a bargain, saving about 100,000 rands for a workhorse. So I would take that over this, because as I said, it's a workhorse. And even with the Nissan, it's a 2.5 turbo diesel. This is a 2.4. They've got almost the same kilowatts, but I think the Toyota Hilux has got more torque. But nonetheless, it's a nice bakkie. Inside you find almost everything you'll need in a workhorse in any case. And yeah, if you're really into Hilux, why not go for it? And the other one that you can look at is the Isuzu. Now it's D-Max, no longer the KB, and I think it goes a little bit less than this, at about 260 if I'm not mistaken, for a brand new one. But I find it a bit less on power and torque. Isuzu is a bit of a donkey for me, so I would rather go for this or the Nissan NP300 if I had to buy a workhorse in any case. So guys, this is the interior of it. I've got electric windows, obviously it's a single cab. I've got 2 cup holders, one on each side, and also some cabin space on your door pockets. And yeah, that's the gauge cluster of it. Simple, doesn't show you, there's nothing much really to it, only what you need to know. And yeah, you had to fit in a radio. You don't get a radio. It's got air conditioner and got time. That's all, in fact. And it's got this fake leather. I think it's comfortable for around town. I don't think over a long distance, because for me, I find it in terms of the sitting position, for me it's a bit too high in a way, and it's a bit uncomfortable. So this is the exterior of it. Since the base model, you get a black bumper. It's not color coded with the rest of the body. Same with your mirrors, they're in black, and your door handles as well. The only other extras you got was one of these, the wind deflector and smash and grab to get a bit of shade inside. And of course you get your steelies, which are 15-inch wheels and tires. And thereafter, look, it didn't come with the tow bar. You had to fit that as well extra. Yeah, I paid a couple of thousands, I think about 4 or 5,000, can't recall. And obviously you also don't get rubberizing. He still has to rubberize the vehicle so that it doesn't mess up with his loading bay, because it will be quite expensive to repair in any case. So yeah, that's the exterior of the Toyota Hilux. It's been in production since 2016. Yeah, that's when they came up with this fresh looking type of one. So I've been driving this petrol bakkie for the past 2 weeks, and yeah, it's quite heavy on fuel, especially when you have to tow such a big trailer with it. And yeah, it's also underpowered as well. So guys, today we're in the Toyota Hilux VVTi. It's a long wheelbase, as you can see at the back, and yeah, it's a workhorse. And I've been driving for the past 3 weeks as a courtesy car, because my Ranger had to go in at the panel beaters. It had like a couple of dents they needed to sort out, so I had this as a courtesy car whilst they were doing repairs on my bakkie. So I think like 2 months ago I test drove the 2.4 GD Toyota Hilux. It was also similar to this in terms of body style. It was a long wheelbase. It was a workhorse basically. And look, in terms of comfortability, yeah, it's a workhorse. So you're not really gonna get a lot of features in the car, just some radio. And when it comes though to suspension, geez, it's quite bumpy, and that's mainly because look, it's using leaf springs at the back, so obviously it's going to be bumpy, more especially if you're not carrying anything. And yeah, again, it's a workhorse, so you can't really expect much from it. And when it comes to this particular one that I've been driving for the past 3 weeks, the 2-liter VVTi, look, I've had this particular engine in my previous Hilux that I had, okay, and in fact I've only had one Hilux that I've bought. It's quite thirsty. It's very thirsty for the size of the bakkie. And with my previous one, look, a year was too much with it, and I got rid of it. Then when it comes to this one, it's still the same engine, and I tried measuring the fuel consumption, and on average I came to about, I think it was 12 to 13 roundabout, because on a full tank of fuel, which is 80 liters, I only managed to get like 650 kilometers, whilst on my Ford Ranger, same fuel capacity in terms of the tank, I can easily get anywhere between 900 kilometers and 1,000. I normally get 1,000 when I'm like driving over a long distance on a long stretch, so I can easily get that with the Ford Ranger. I only get 650 on the Ranger when I'm towing my 4-meter long trailer, which is a double axle type of trailer, and when it's fully loaded, then I get 650 kilometers on the tank. But with this one, with nothing at the back, not towing anything, you just get 650 kilometers on a full tank. So yeah, it's quite heavy on fuel. I wouldn't advise anyone to buy any petrol bakkie, because look, it's quite underpowered, so you really have to rev it up high to get to any desired speed for that matter. So even if you're going to be driving the bike around town, you still feel that it's underpowered. And in fact, this morning I hooked up my trailer. A friend of mine was borrowing it, so I just had to meet him halfway, and you could feel that it's pulling something, and there's no power at all. There's literally no power. It's gutless. So if you really want something to work and you're going to be towing, you're going to be loading stuff at the back, rather go for the diesel, because this I think has like 98 to 100 kilowatts, and in terms of torque it's got like 200 if I'm not mistaken, so it's not a lot. And look, I'm quite surprised that it hasn't been discontinued, because I don't think a lot of people tend to buy petrol bakkies. At the time when I had purchased one, I literally didn't know anything in terms of the difference between petrol and diesel. I just saw something with a small engine capacity, so I thought, man, surely it's going to be good on fuel consumption, and it was the cheapest that I got, so I went for that. But if you're really going to be doing quite a lot of work with it, rather go for a diesel. That will be much better in terms of fuel consumption, and yeah, in terms of towing as well, because I do that quite a lot over long distances. So with this, if ever you're going uphill, even if you're not towing, you're going to struggle, because look, it doesn't have a turbo. It's a naturally aspirated engine. Obviously you're going to get a lot of kilometers. You can easily get like 500,000 kilometers on this, going to 1 million for that matter, if you maintain it quite well, because they're quite reliable. At the end of the day, it's a Toyota, as we all know. Toyotas are reliable, just like your Isuzus. Speaking of Isuzu, one thing I've noticed, I think they discontinued the 2.4 petrol, and again, another friend of mine had that, and he said that thing was very, very heavy on fuel consumption. So right now I'm actually returning it after the 3 weeks I've had it. I'm driving down from Queenstown to East London, and yeah, we'll see what consumption we get, because I'm actually driving from a higher altitude to a lower altitude, because East London is in the coastal area. So guys, this is in fact the following day after I've dropped off the Toyota Hilux and I picked up my Ford Ranger, and I seriously missed it. Even miss small things like an armrest, you know. And another thing that was bugging me with a single cab, there's not enough room in terms of like putting my seat at an incline or decline rather. And I'm not really tall or anything like that, but I just find it a bit uncomfortable when the seats are like upright. So hence I find it so comfortable in a double cab in any case. And the main reason for that is I've got back issues, so I seriously need my seat to be more comfortable. But yeah, that was that with the Toyota Hilux. Thank goodness it's gone, because geez, it was thirsty. And yeah, now I've got my Ford Ranger back, and I'm quite happy with it. Anyways, thanks for watching the video. Don't forget to like it, subscribe to the channel, and I'll catch you in the next one.